Welcome to another episode of the Prepared Performer Podcast. Hey guys, it's Molly Mahoney from The Prepared Performer. Welcome to another episode of the Prepared Performer Podcast. And today's guest is Sarah Michelle Brown. I met her at the 90-Day Year, which is an awesome event put on by Todd Herman as a part of his course called the 90-Day Year, which was created to help creative, crazy people like us who need to know how to focus to get stuff done. And it was an amazing program. So I'll actually tell you more about that course later on in the year because he's getting ready to open it up again, which is so cool. But today is Sarah Michelle Brown. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before she jumps into this little chat room. Sarah Michelle Brown's passion is for telling stories that reach out and give the audience a powerful experience. She is an award-winning artist who writes and directs for the stage in music videos, documentaries, and narrative films. Since studying at the neighborhood Playhouse School of Theater in New York City, Sarah has primarily worked as an indie artist. Most recently, Sarah has turned her 15 plus years experience in front of and behind the camera into a method of training entrepreneurs how to make videos that shine. And I will tell you that I'm in Sarah's really awesome Facebook group that she has. And it's called like Videos That Shine or something. I'll post a link below, but it's for video newbies. And it is one of the best Facebook groups I'm a part of, you guys. There's all kinds of people in there who are sharing their videos, like getting tips and stuff. And she's just so giving. And also, funny side note, she lives in Canada, but at this event that I was at with her in Vegas, she lost her passport and they like, you guys know I'm obsessed with spreading joy. And Sarah did the most amazing, like crazy adventure when she was stuck in Vegas trying to get home to Canada and made the most out of it and turned a crazy situation into a positive, which you know is something that I really love. So yeah, she's amazing. And I'm so excited to pick her brain. So she'll be here in a mo. Here she is. You guys, this is Sarah Michelle, and she's amazing, and I'm so excited to have her here today. I already told you about how awesome she is, so let's jump right in. Woohoo! Where are you talking to us from today?
I am in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. Oh my gosh, you guys, my internet. What the heck is happening?
Uh-oh.
Did I lose you again?
Already. I lost you.
Yeah, shoot.
It says your network bandwidth is low.
Yeah, it said mine was unstable too. Okay, let's keep going, and then if it happens, we'll stop and start over again. Ha! Okay. Look at this, you guys, live video. It's perfection. Okay. She's in Toronto, Canada, which I told them about you losing your passport because I think the way that you...
Oh my gosh.
The way that you handled that was so amazing. She like took this crazy stressful situation and turned it into this awesome adventure that we were able to go on with her, which was such a lesson in life, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my gosh.
And I even did a video out of it called Turning Your Video Lemons into Lemonade. Like, you just got to go with life sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and make the most, like those are gifts that we're given when we're put in stressful situations.
Absolutely. I hear you, sister.
I know. Okay, so first of all, I would like to know how, like you have a performer background as well, right?
I
Tell
do.
us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, it goes back several moons ago, but I actually started for any of your peeps who, if you're familiar with the Meisner technique and repetition.
Yes, I actually have an improv game that I made up called Elephant Fitzgerald that I'll have to tell you about sometime. It's all based on Meisner. We made it up backstage at the fireside.
Okay, love it. Well, that's essentially how I started. I found myself kind of thrown into doing commercials and stuff, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Yeah.
And I found this amazing Meisner coach in Toronto who, like, it was just like, oh, my eyes were open because, oh gosh, the story. It's such a long story. Okay, so very briefly, I'll say I actually started off in biochemistry. And I was going to be a scientist, and and discovered it was not my calling, and I didn't know what my calling was. So I was like experimenting and trying different things, and there was something about like, you know, doing the auditions and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, and then I ended up in this Meisner course, and then I went to the neighborhood Playhouse in New York, and really did a lot of repetition, like of repetition while I was there, and the dog has come by to say hello.
Oh, yay.
Now he's going. He's like, no, he never goes on camera. I don't know what
Oh, he's shy.
Yeah. But that's essentially how I got started, was in New York City studying acting. Like,
I love it.
dreamy, yeah.
Okay, so then so you worked as an actor for how many years? Like, how long were you working as a performer?
Gosh, 10, 12 years.
Yeah, perfect. That's
Something
like about
that.
the same as me. I like it. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so then from there, how did you start getting into all this video magic that you're doing?
Oh gosh. Well, I started directing not long after I started acting. Just like, actually, when I was at theater school, all my friends were like, "So Sarah, when you start directing, you're going to cast us, right?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a thespian. I have no idea what you mean." And they were like, "Yeah. Anyhow, so when you start directing, make sure you cast us." And I didn't know what they were talking about. And then,
So what do you think what qualities did they notice in you that led them to think that you were?
well, it could be one of the things. Could be because I was running around school all that year with a camcorder making a mockumentary with anyone, and it would work with me. I'd be like, "Hey, let's do a scene right now. Go." That could have something to do with it. Maybe I always had my camera out, and I was.
Isn't it funny how, like, even with that happening, you didn't think that directing was an option for you?
Yeah, no.
What are you talking about? Sometimes I think the things that we actually, like our calling or whatever, is screaming at us, and we don't even realize that it's there.
Yeah, we have no idea.
So naturally, yeah.
Yeah. So then when I got back to Toronto, I had some like cinematographer friend of mine who's like, "So Sarah, when you're ready to start shooting, you can use my camera." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" So that's kind of eventually I started really listening, and I started writing. And that's where it started. I started writing really bad little scenes in short films that was like not in any kind of English that people actually spoke. Like it was like, "D'Artagnan, wherefore art thou?" And I'm like, "Oh no, this is terrible." And then from there, I just kind of had this wake up call, and I just was like, "I need to do this.
Yeah.
I do this or I don't do this." And I made my first short film 2 months later. And it went to some festivals and all that
That's
stuff.
really quick to make that, right? I was talking to somebody today about Carrie Wilkerson is her name, and she's a business coach, and she was talking about how there are certain people who just like get it done. Like you figure out, you do it, right?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Well, it was several years in the making as far as like procrastinate or just not allowing, sometimes you don't sit in your power. Yeah. That's what I was doing. So,
But once you made the decision, all of that pre-work compiled into the next 2 months.
Yeah, essentially.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's why I got started into all that stuff and becoming a director and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And did you continue to perform and stuff, act as well?
Yeah. I actually just stopped performing a couple years ago after I took a stage play of mine down to New York City, and I actually acted in my stage play at the New York Fringe Festival. And there's just like a lot going on in my life at that time. Like there were massive things happening in my life that were just life-changing things. Mm-hmm. And I just was finally like, I need to change things up right now. I don't know how it looks, but I need to actually just stop doing some things and start something brand new and just like shift things up,
Awesome.
And that's actually when I stopped acting. It was like, there's something about, for the first time in my life, I felt like I needed more control over my own destiny, so to speak. And I just couldn't, for myself at that time, I was just like, I can't be always in this state of flux, as we all understand, we all relate to, we all know it. And I desperately needed to just feel that more control over my life. And that's really where I started to build my business, which is crazy.
Yeah. So then how did you, like, at that point, did you have tools or resources? One of the things that, I don't know how much we've spoken about this, but one of the things that like literally drives me crazy is that most of us, when we go to school, like full-blown universities, we don't get any sort of business training at all. And as a performer, you are running your own business. So I've also recognized the fact that the internet has completely changed the world. So like since a lot of us were in school, these resources weren't available. Yeah. So I know that it wasn't as possible to give us that education then. However, like some sort of training in writing a check or accepting a check or signing a contract, like that kind of stuff would be so helpful. So how did you do that?
Gosh. There's so many things that went off in my head when you said that, because there's a few different things that, like, I'm on the absolute same page as you around that. We are not prepped as artists at all, and we should be. I don't know, especially nowadays, like, there is no excuse, because you could bring somebody in, a specialist, to come in for a week or two and give people some basic tools that
an hour.
Seriously, an hour, and help them change their lives so that they don't have to scrape and constantly feel so stressed, and bring that energy into the audition room with you know? So essentially what happened when I was taking my play to New York, which I just have to give a little shout out to my play, because we got rave reviews. We did, like, it was really,
what was it called?
It's called First Hand Woman, and it's a 5-woman play. And we got really beautiful reviews down there. It's the first time I brought them to New York. So I was very excited about that. But
amazing.
Yeah. So in that, I just, like, while I was in prep for bringing the play down there, I decided I wanted to take a business course, because I was like, I just feel like maybe somebody else can help me understand how to take advantage of this opportunity.
Right.
And so I signed up for this course, and it was like a 6-week thing online. And
was it for artists, or was it just a business course in general?
It was a business course in general, but it was for passionate entrepreneurs, heart-centered entrepreneurs. And they said that it was great for artists as well. So I was like, I'm going to take this. So and essentially, I got a ton of tools about how to become a heart-centered entrepreneur, passionate entrepreneur. But I didn't learn anything about how to be a more successful artist. So I actually got on a call with a woman, and this is like one of those business guru types. And I was just like, okay, I'm taking my play to New York. I want to make the most of this. And, like, I don't really see anything in the course that can specifically help me with it. But, like, do you have any advice, like, how to leverage and find that tipping point? And she was just like, well, the arts is a different type of thing. And she's like, what I recommend is you keep working for free. Keep working for free and hope for those opportunities and the right people in the audience. And I was just like, right? Like, I wanted to do one of these, like, boom, boom. Because it was not helpful at all. Right?
I was going to say, I don't think anyone has gone boom, boom, boom. Oh my gosh, I love you.
Yes. Anyhow, it was frustrating because.
What did you say to her, though? Were you like, were you just in such shock, or did you get angry?
No, I didn't get angry. I just realized she didn't have the solution to the thing that all artists in all time have been trying to figure out. Right. So I had to kind of let it go. Like, this isn't an easy one to figure out, right? So I let that go. But what evolved, I didn't expect to leave acting and to put my personal directing, like my directing projects, on hold or any of that stuff by taking this course or by taking my play to New York. I thought all this stuff would propel me forward into my arts stuff, and artist stuff. And it completely just was like, I actually needed to shut it down for a little while.
Interesting.
Because, like, literally with, not so much with the acting, but with my filmmaking stuff, if I wasn't being hired to do something, or like with the play, like funding it myself or trying to get as much by crowdsourcing and things like that, but still using my bank account, taking this business course really taught me that I was paying to work. So I was funding my own stuff and I was paying to work. And that just struck me as like, that's ass backwards. Like, that is, and I knew I was doing it all along, but I never defined it in that way. Yeah. And I think, like, as artists, we're just taught, like, to go for the beast, come hell or high water, make it happen, like, just don't have anything to fall back on. Otherwise you'll fall back on it. You'll no longer be an artist. And it's like, that stuff is bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah. I hope this is okay for your people.
You know what I was going to say? I have loads of kids that watch mine. I'll bleep them out. But I have lots. So far, I have lots of kids that watch though, so we should be a little careful.
Okay. Yes. Got it, sister.
Okay.
Do you want me to say that?
An F-bomb at my open mic one night, and I had made a big announcement about watching it because there was kids they were like kids sitting there, and I literally was like,
do you want me to say that again?
Yeah, please. No.
Okay. Let me go.
No, don't say it again.
Are you sure?
Yep. Okay. Actually, we did an interview with my friend Ellen, who's in Kinky Boots, who's amazing, and I had given her like major disclaimer at the beginning, do not whatever, and then I cussed while talking to her.
That's awesome.
But she's like a good friend of mine from New York where I was not as censored.
Yeah, right. Well, you've got a couple of like creative types together right now. So
Right.
it's like,
who knows what might happen. Yeah, no, it's totally good. But okay, wait, I have, so that's like your story gave me so many thoughts about all of life. Okay, so it is totally backwards. And I talk to a lot of people, a lot of my students and clients about the fact that if you are given that opportunity to do something for exposure, right, that it's okay to do that, but you have to be really clear about where your boundaries are. And if you are like, let's say you're looking to make, like, for example, when we play at restaurants, we don't make as much as when we play at like private events, but I know I can use that the stuff at the restaurant to get footage. I can use it because I bring in loads of people, to my strangers, are there. And also I can bring in my students. I can bring in my friends. I've booked new students because of the restaurant gigs. So even though we don't make as much, it's more of a marketing tool than anything.
Yeah.
So I look at it as a marketing tool, but you have to be really selective with that.
Yeah. You have to be strategic and like, and it's funny, I say that now and I'm all like, this is a lesson I'm learning, but I know what, like my future arts projects, I'm going to have to ask people to work for a very low rate, or volunteer time, like, because these things are expensive to make, and unless you have proper funding, which is so hard to get. You, like what I have said to people who, like, if anyone's said, should you wait till you have funding to make your projects? I'm like, practically, yes.
Yeah.
But no, don't wait. Do it. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll wait 20 years and you'll never get it done. Like I look at so many of my projects and I go, I would have never done that. I would have never taken my play to New York, if I was waiting for the whole thing to be funded.
Right.
So it's tricky, but at that rate, like it's coming from, a lot of that was coming from my bank account. Like I did raise 10 grand, but that didn't cover taking 11 people to New York City, putting them up for 2 weeks in the village, and transportation costs, flights, all that, food. Like I covered so they wouldn't have to pay a dime, but they had to be strategic as well and go, I want to be on a stage in New York in a play that I love. Yeah.
Right. But then they're taking off work or whatever they're doing from their stuff also for those 2 weeks. Like there's so much of that give and take. I also have another friend who works with the production company and I was talking to him when I was in New York about this stuff and how he was saying that they really want to do every tour as an equity tour. However, like people don't realize the crazy amount, like the costs that go into it.
Yeah.
So seeing things from that side with the shows that I have done and like that, I'm sure that it, it shakes everything up. So you can't go into it just like these producers are jerk faces because they're not paying all the actors enough, but you have to look at like what everything actually entails.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It is definitely one of the things that I think all performers have to weigh out. Like, is this opportunity worth it or not? Like for me, like with building the business, part of that is because I don't want to have to worry about my arts projects anymore, So like if I can have, a good stream of income coming in from doing something that I actually love as well, it takes away so much of the stress for when I'm like, it's time to make another short film.
Or when it's time to go to an audition and you go into that audition and you're like, this is the only chance I have to get out of this horrible situation.
Yeah. And that's an energy that is so hard to get rid of. Like you bring it into the room with you, It's really, really hard to get rid of.
And it's like a palpable energy too, that people behind the table can feel it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Or there's a thing like I've been fortunate in that, like I just have, I'm fortunate or redonkulous, but I just have refused, like I have refused to go for a Joe job. Like it's just one of those things where I'm just like, I can't do it. So
it's a Joe job. I don't know what that means. Is that
is that like a Canadian phrase?
I think it must be, eh?
Like something that takes your soul away as far as making sure you have money coming in.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying to think. It wouldn't, day job, but that's not
like it's different for everyone. I think the definition of that, like for me, I saw my dad was in a job that he hated for so many years, so it did something to me, and I'm just like, I can't do it. But
especially when there's so many opportunities out there, I mean it's just hard. Sometimes they don't seem like attainable, but if you can find the right resources and develop the right tools and mindset and all of that around it, then that can help. I have my computers on my music stand, but my music stand broke, so I'm using a different one, and it's like slowly tilting, and then it's going to fall over, and my computer's going to break.
It's just like an adventure. We're going on a
I know. Maybe it's good. Okay. Okay, so now you have this business. So tell us like about the business that you have now.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me preface
like that shift. Yeah. How did that all happen?
Let me preface it by saying, so when I made the shift in my life, because there was so much going on, and like, I guess like I'll let your people into it. Like I essentially around the time that I made this shift, I had a lot of people in my life passing away in a very short period of time, randomly, tough, a lot. Like it was crazy. And I felt like the ground from beneath me was falling away. So that's why I felt like I needed something to hang on to and something that I could have more control over, because I felt so out of control. Like you can't save people, you can't save them.
Right.
And so for me, like I knew I needed to just build something new for myself and start over essentially, like I felt like I was starting my life from the beginning. And so throughout, when I started going into creating this business, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I was like, I have no freaking idea what to do. So I was, from that course I had taken, I had met some wonderful people. Like I had no idea. As an artist, I just thought there was artists and corporate. And I didn't really understand that there was this bridge. And there's this bridge where you have these creative entrepreneurs who are using their skills in a way that they love. It's not selling out what you do. But it took me some time to understand that. So I'd gone into this group and I had this mastermind, these little group of ladies, and I was like, women, could you go over and check out my website, which was my old website. So it's just my name, sarahmichelebrown.com. And it was like different than it looks now, but it was just me as the artist, Sarah, doing my thing. And I said, go over there and see if you see a business there. And so they went over and we all got on a call like a few days later, and they're like, so Sarah, I said, so you're a director, like a film director? I said, yeah. And they're like, an actual director? I'm like, yeah. And they said, and you're an actor? I said, yes. Like, you are comfortable on camera and you've done all, yeah. And they're like, why aren't you helping us? They're like, here's your business. Here it is we need help as entrepreneurs. We're told we need to do videos. Everybody's doing videos. It's a hot way to sell your stuff now and to put yourself out there, but we don't know what we're doing. So here's your business. You're going to help us. And actually one of the ladies from that was my first premium client.
That's amazing.
So I was very lucky that they just said, here's what you're doing.
But before that, you also had the insight to ask them. Oh man, hold on one second.
Okay.
My phone was, the ringer was on my phone. You had the insight to ask, like, that's one of the biggest things I say too, is, talk to the people around you and see what they would purchase from you, or like what help they would want from you, because a lot of times we don't even realize we're giving that help to others.
Yeah, seriously. It's true. And when you ask the people, as I discovered, who need that help, they have really strong ideas about what doing,
exactly.
So it was very, and that was literally the day I just started going, and I started looking at this business course I had just taken, and I was like, there's a whole lot of stuff that I can apply to this now.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot of stuff that I can apply to this that didn't make so much sense for me as an artist,
Right.
And that's where it started. I started like offering free calls to people, like free half-hour sessions. And I would just, help them out with their problems. What are you dealing with? And find out where their pain points were. And it was interesting because like, there's definitely crossover between what I do now. In like, essentially what I do is I help entrepreneurs to shine on camera, to bring out their best on camera, and also how to actually make the DIY videos as well. So this is do it yourself stuff. I give them the basic technology they need. And then for the very, those special entrepreneurs who are ready to start playing it big, I actually create videos for them. So I do concept work and I create high-end videos for them. So
you come on, like they have to be in Toronto, or how does that work? Like
right now they do technically have to be in Toronto or come to Toronto.
Right.
But there's the whole other side of business of figuring out how the heck to get working papers, because most of my people are in the States,
Right.
So there's that kind of
crazy. Yeah. Cool though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think that like, I mean, I don't know if I've told you this, but I do some training also for business owners, but also corporate training about how to have a sense of stage presence. And it's like the same thing. So it's like everything that I've been teaching my students, voice students, I help them to be able to bring that sense of stage presence to their life, or because so much of what we're doing as business owners is about putting yourself out there and like letting people see who you really are.
Yeah.
And as actors also, right? Like even just when you slate, making sure that you're showing all the things that make you awesome.
Yeah.
The one thing that is like the crazy hardest thing for us to do.
Yeah.
No,
it's true.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And
so I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll tell you this, like anyone else who's listening, who has been like, had a calling as an artist, and you're like business, I don't know about this business stuff. Like, cause I certainly was like, I'm not doing the business thing. I'm just like, I'm an artist. And then when I started doing the launching the business and getting some clients and working on marketing, like you find that you do spend your time in a different way. So there's things that you have to start doing to help make sure that you're nurturing both sides. Like I found like the first year, especially, I was so focused on the business Sarah, the entrepreneur Sarah, and like building this business. And I stopped acting completely. I stopped doing my directing in my way. And I would have these like little meltdowns, these little moments of panic, like, why am I not at a casting right now? Like, I haven't had in 7 months. Like, what's going on? And I have this like identity crisis of like, like, geez, like, what happened to me as an artist, And then after about a year, I started to realize like I had to change things up because I couldn't keep going in that way either.
Right.
Because my calling is as an artist, I'm a creative person, it's all of us can relate.
Right?
Creative. And it's a different way of living your life. Your day-to-day does look different. So for me, I had to start changing things in my business in order to integrate my artist self. Because I originally wanted to keep the two completely separate. And it's like, you just can't. So I changed up my branding. I was like, I need to show that I'm an artist. I'm kind of quirky. I got a Soho attitude. Like, I can't just pretend that I'm this, like, entrepreneur. Like, you can't do that. You can't become something that you're not, because you think that's what entrepreneurs are supposed to be like. Like, I did that in my first year, and then I was like, I can't do that anymore.
And so what did that do for your business when you actually started incorporating that?
It grew. It started to grow my business. It started to make me more excited about it as well. Yeah. I started drawing, like, people were, I think, more connected to me. You know what I mean? Right. Because I started to understand that, like, lo and behold, just be yourself. Whether
which is like the thing that everybody says, but it's so hard it's like so scary to do that, right? I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but my favorite thing to say is that everyone has something that makes them uniquely awesome, even if it's just that they make an amazing quesadilla. So I say you have to find your quesadilla recipe, but sometimes that can be the hardest thing to do. So I always have people like write down all of the things about them as a human being. Forget about what you do with your skills. Like, who are you as a person?
Yep. 100% agree. 100% agree.
That's
awesome.
And
that comes for like being an entrepreneur and also being an actor.
Yes.
Like, I think there's a lot of pressure on actors as well, like to behave a certain way or look a certain way. Comparison game comes in. You're like, oh, I should look more like that. And like, you just got to do you, actually.
Right. So crazy.
Yeah. Which, can I just say a pet peeve?
Yes,
I have about headshots.
Okay. Yeah.
I find that so many headshots, it's almost like you're looking at the same commercial, but with different people, and they've all gotten the same direction. And it drives me nuts. Like, when it's like, okay, now you're slick. And it's
right.
I wish more headshot photographers could bring more personality out in people. So I'll just say, like, quick tip, look around, because not all headshot photographers are created equal, but they buy into this thing that you're supposed to fit into a certain mold.
And with headshots, I think that's so true that you want to show your inner, not just like your hair color and your sparkly eyes or whatever, but your energy as well, right? My hair, hair is like going cuckoo right now. That's so true. And I mean, sometimes like I've seen headshot flyers of people where I'll like be like, what is happening on that piece of paper right there?
Oh, they have like, where they have like the pose and it's like, like, serious. It's just like, oh yeah.
This one was good for a while too.
Oh no.
What are you doing? Okay, so can you give us like your top 3 DIY video tips?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if that's like crazy because
okay, no. So DIY video, are you talking about self-tape?
Yeah, so if someone like let's say somebody's going to send in a submission.
Okay.
What would you say?
Good sound.
Okay.
Good sound. You need
So how
to
do
have
they
proper sound.
yeah.
Okay, so there's a few different ways you can do it. What I personally use is a lavalier microphone, and I use a wireless lavalier microphone. And what that means, if you don't know, is if you've been on a set or whatever, you know how they pin a microphone onto your clothes somewhere?
Yeah.
That's a lav mic. And a wireless one just means that it's not attached to the camera. So you can, if you're like, oh, I gotta pee, like you can go and pee and you're not gonna drag your camera off the tripod. Okay?
But is it attached to the pack?
Yeah,
Like
so
a
it's
pack
got a wire that goes down
okay.
and the pack, you stick it like in your pocket or something. And
so it's like a headset, like you would use in a show.
You
right?
got it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's like what you would use if you were on a film or, you know,
right. Awesome. I have one actually. It's in my car right now. I don't know why it's in my car, but I have one that plugs into a phone, but it is a wire one. I don't have one for here that's a separate. I do have a Janet Jackson one that's like a full headset, but
nice.
That's just I use that for teaching because I was losing my voice.
I'd love to see you do it in auditions though. That would be hilarious.
Because I mean, so that's a great tip. So getting and they can I'm assuming most of these can like Bluetooth with a cell phone. Is that how it works, or are you saying record? Like, how would you suggest?
That depends. So for camera, I mean, to get started, you want to use something that you're comfortable with is the main thing. Like, because you don't want to get some camera that you're gonna like not be able to use. You're gonna get overwhelmed and things like that. So, if you have a smartphone that does have a decent camera on it, you can go ahead and use that. And there are attachments you can get so that you can actually put a lavalier mic and plug it in so it'll sync with your phone, which is great. So, that would be like a first setup that I would recommend.
Yeah.
For people who are just getting started with this stuff. You know? Yeah.
And then so good sound.
Yeah, good sound. And lighting is important, and I'm going to put lighting and backdrop together. So I think the goal is probably to simulate as much as possible what it would be like in a casting room. So get your hands on a cheap background that's a fairly neutral color, like a medium blue or a medium gray, something like that. Nothing too bright, just something that's neutral so that you can pop, you'll pop out of. So something that you can just, line up behind you so it looks nice.
There's so many options on Amazon.
Yep, there's tons of
photography backgrounds.
Yeah. So you want to get something like that, and you also want to get yourself some lights. So something, again, I kind of, because you're submitting it, I actually do recommend that you get your hands on some relatively decent lights. So nothing that like your, cinematographers and things like that buy, because that's like way, you don't need to spend like $1,000 on a light.
Right.
But there are these things out there. Actually, I do have some links. I have a gear link. Okay, so if you go to videos.shine.com/my-gear.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Then there's a bunch of stuff there, but I use ones for just like my DIY videos. I use ones by Cowboy Studio.
That's what I use too. That's awesome. Yeah, I have a little video on it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and those will create essentially you're going to do a 3-point lighting system. So Google that.
I was going to try and bring mine in over here, but it's too big. The cord is not big enough. Long enough.
It's all good. But they're big, right? Like I'll tell you, like Cowboy Studio, they look like real big, like lights, like actual bona fide lights, and they kind of are. So, but they'll make all the difference. Like you don't want to light self-tape with your lamp, like your regular house lamp or an overhead, light that you flip on at the wall. You definitely want to get,
because there can be weird shadows and like yellowy stuff and all that.
It can go funky real fast. And so that's a tip is to get a good decent backdrop that looks professional, resembles a casting room. You don't want it to be so different, right? That it's distracting. You want it to feel like the performance is what wants to come through, not like how poorly lit you are, or, oh wow, she's got like zebra like backdrop behind her. Like, you know what I mean? Don't go fancy. You don't need
zebra. That's the tip from today, you guys. Zebra backdrops. Everyone get a zebra backdrop. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Self-tapes, I'd say there's something around, I'm going to go the matrix on you, know thyself. Is to understand.
Okay, so I have my little Stanislavski, speaking of method, chart out here. And the very first thing that it says on Stanislavski's chart is work on oneself.
Yes.
That's where everything starts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, I think especially with self-taping and even auditions, because they don't give you much direction in the audition room.
Right.
Generally speaking, they're like, let's try it again. Okay.
Coming in cold right away.
With that, what did you say?
So, or just coming in cold right away with no direction at all, besides the breakdown.
Yeah, because you're essentially being your own director, and this goes for all auditions actually, but especially for self-tape, because you don't get the benefit of having, at least sometimes a casting director will come in and say, hey, so they're looking for something a little softer. They want some, don't do it with that accent or whatever, so you have to, there's something around know thyself and knowing your strengths and working on where you're weak. So like, for example, myself, I know I need direction. I'm actually an actor who works much better with direction than left to my own devices. So I know that like it benefits me to, if I have a big audition, to hire someone to help me work on it, to get someone who's like an outside eye, because it's just different having an outside eye work with you. I mean, that's the job of the director, is to be that person who will have those insights while you're in the moment and pull different stuff out of you, And
also, I always say too, as performers, we are what we are selling, which is so crazy, because it's really actually impossible to be objective about it because it's you.
Yeah. It's hard to be objective.
Yeah.
And I think that's like that's a solid tip, like as far as knowing what your strengths are and working on that place where you're weak, especially for self-tape. So if like, for example, my ex, he was an amazing actor, like an incredible actor.
Yeah.
All you needed to do was just put some lights on him and he could make magic happen. Like, he was really, really, really skilled, really, really, really talented, and very experienced. So like, he would just be dreamy in that respect, as far as like self-tapes. Like I would help him with self-tapes. And when I say self-tape, help him, I mean, press record and read opposite him, and then he did everything. He didn't need my direction.
Right.
One of those people who is, would be on set and you don't need to tell him anything. He's just got it. But
they're unicorns.
Yeah, he's a unicorn. I'm not a unicorn in that respect.
Right.
Like, I need help. So especially prepping for stuff. Like, I find sometimes I'll watch back stuff and like while I'm rehearsing and practicing, and I'm like, I wish I had some outside. Like, I can self-direct a bit, but I do prefer.
And that's also a good tip, is watch your own stuff and use a critical eye when you watch your own stuff, and like practice it. Don't just only have like the one take that you do. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I heard something about this guy, this Toronto actor who is working a ton right now. Like, he's doing all sorts of international projects and things like that. And I was talking with a friend of mine, and she goes, I was talking with so-and-so. Do you know, for every single audition, he goes like 8 hours straight working on his auditions, like focused working.
Wow.
And I'm like, really?
Well, that's working for him.
Yeah, it's working for him. But I just kind of was like one of those things where it's like, oh, I could probably put in more work on my audition.
Right. Like the prep work, totally prepared performers.
Yeah, because I think we get, we have resistance. There's this lovely thing called resistance that can happen. So you will under prepare. Like, you're afraid of not getting the job. You're afraid to get the job.
Right.
And so you under prepare, and then you go in the room and you're not ready.
Yeah.
So, it's all psychology, but
totally. It's so true though, actually putting in that
psychology.
Sometimes, so I'm thinking about doing an audio version of this also, like separating everything out and uploading it. And this audio version is going to be really crazy because we have so many like, crazy things to do.
Signals.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
This was so awesome. Okay, so I know you also have told me that you have something special that you're going to offer the prepared performers.
Yes, I do. And I actually just created it for you guys.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, because when you, Molly, approached me about doing this, you're like, do you have anything for my peeps? And I was just like, not really, because I'm working with entrepreneurs these days as far as training is concerned. But hell yeah. I'm like, I love, or heck yeah. I just figured like I have this wealth of experience and knowledge that actors can benefit from. So I have created a one-on-one session with me, and I'm calling it What Directors Want. That's it. What Directors Want. So I have no bones. Like I have nothing to hide about being a director and what I look for, and my experience of working with all sorts of directors, good, bad, and ugly, both as an actor, also as shadowing directors. I've shadowed some pretty big directors out there as well. I've seen great things that happen when they're working with actors and terrible things that happen when they're working with actors. I've experienced, all the good, bad, and ugly with working with directors. And I know from my experience of what it is that makes a dreamy actor and makes me just want to work with somebody over and over and over again and hire them whenever I can.
Amazing. So much of it is not about getting that first job. It's about after you get that first job, building that relationship to continue on. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so it's like, tips, really great tips on how to rock that audition room. Also great tips of what to do when you do get the job as far as being on set, being, in rehearsals and things like that.
Yeah.
Of what, because I know sometimes you get that job and it can trip you up. Sometimes you're working with a jerk director or you're working in not an ideal situation and it can trip you up sometimes. So I'm going to give some tips on how to, bring out your best no matter what the situation is. And make yourself irresistible to directors. Like it'll be like catnip. You'll be like catnip for directors.
I like that.
Yeah.
So where will you send me a link for that, or where can they go to get that?
It's
you can just send it to me.
The link. Yeah.
Okay. And tell us your website again.
It's video. I don't think I've said it at all.
I think you mentioned it when you were talking about
the gear.
Yeah, right.
So videosthatshine.com, and this one will be at videosthatshine.com/what-directors-want.
Perfect. Yeah. What directors want, which is you. They want you. Do you know? Okay, I'm going to teach you something before we leave. That is when I first heard, when I first saw your Facebook group, which is so awesome, and your website and all that. I knew that we were kindred spirits because this is my favorite thing. So, do you ever feel stressed out? Like we've talked about, right? We get stressed. There's like so much to deal with. Yeah. So I want you to make your best stressed out sad face. This is another weird one for the audio version of this, but right? Even if it's an audio, make your best stressed.
This is sad.
My face is sad too, and crooked. Okay, take your hand like this.
I think we both have like a similar face.
Okay, on the count of 3, we're going to shimmer and shine, and everything's going to get better. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you just need to shimmer and shine.
It's true. Yeah.
It's good. I like it. And you guys, she can help you to shine in your videos. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was like crazy amazing. I cannot wait to share it. I'm gonna make it like come out super fast.
Word.
Yeah. Word. What? Okay.
What?
So awesome. Thank you.
My
And
pleasure.
I love everything that you do. So prepared performers. How amazing was this? Yay! Go give her love on her Facebook and her. Where are you on Facebook and all of that?
Oh gosh.
Videos that shine.
I mean, yeah, videos that shine. If you search for that on Facebook, or
I'll post all the links below so everybody can come find you and give you love.
They're all
I love it. Okay, hooray! Bye. Ooh, and you guys, don't forget, if you want to know more about running a business as a performer, go to yourperformingartscareer.com. I have a whole business toolkit with all kinds of information, ways to help you with mindset, with actually coming up with processes to treat your career as a business. And it's a whole bunch of amazing stuff in there. So go do that. You'll also get added to our Facebook group for paid performers, yourperformingartscareer.com.